Okay, thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Thank you, Michelle, for the introduction. Okay, let me share my screen before I introduce myself. Here we go. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to this not really discuss is it's sharing of our family's AAC journey. So it has been quite a while. We started when this young man, Reese, who is in the wheelchair, he is immobile. He's now 10 years old. So we started using AAC at around when he was around 2 years old. Yeah. So this is our little family. Reese has a twin brother. This is his if you see the one that looks a bit like the father, that's his twin brother. And then this is the little Akif. So he's just turning 2. And yeah, and this is Reese and my husband. Okay. So I'm a homemaker and a full-time caregiver to Reese and the boys. I'm also a small business owner here in Singapore. Reese has his own Instagram page, which is at Reese Talks Pod. So I upload like a lot of videos of Reese journey using the pod system. He has a very personalized pod system. If you see, he's holding the pod book, and it looks like a television where there's a window at the center. So initially, Reese is unable to point at the icons in his book. So we use the window as a gauge on whether he can focus on the icons that he wants to choose, and also to facilitate with him telling us that he wants to say something. So we will actually use the book and put it on our near our faces, and then once he engaged or he was looking at us, our eyes, then we know that he wants to say something. So that's what the window is for. So he has been using this personalized support system since 2019. And he's now playing game inside his room, but he wants to introduce himself. He's now has upgraded his AAC system into a high-tech version. So from a low-tech version of his sports system, we actually managed to teach him how to use an eye gaze system on the Microsoft tablet. Yeah. So he wants to introduce himself. Okay. Hi, Ashish. Okay, can you introduce yourself? You want to tell everybody who are you? Introduce yourself. Okay, yeah. You are Reese. Okay. Can you tell people what is your favorite thing to do at home? Remember, you must in full sentences, okay? Reese likes to TV. Loud. It's okay. He's very cheeky. This. TV. Okay, I shall stop here because the video is actually 6 minutes long, and he actually just wants to tell us that he loves watching TV, and his favorite a TV channel is actually YouTube. Yeah, so he loves watching gameplay and he aspires to be a game developer when he's older. Yeah, so that's Reese.
Oops, sorry.
Hi. Okay. Okay, so when we first used AAC, Reese, as I mentioned, was around 2 years old. He first used a pack book, something like the picture that I'm showing you in my slide. So of course, before using a pack book, I have to know whether he has literacy skills. So I actually discovered that he's able to recognize pictures and make a link between the pictures and words. So and I told his early intervention teacher at that time that he's able to associate words with pictures. And then she decided, she actually made a small ring file with lots of these pictures inside for him to be able to choose. So exactly like this ring file, he will have two choices. At that point of time, of course, he's just 2 years old, so we don't want to put a lot of choices for him and then confuse him, right? So we also like teaching him the different icons and the different pictures and words that's associated with the picture. So we only give him two options that best fit the social settings. So, for example, if he wants to eat, whether there's noodle and rice and which one he would like to eat. So he would choose between these two pictures and tell us which one he prefers. So I mentioned earlier that Reese has trouble using his hands to tell us which picture he chooses. So when he was young, uh, uh, we noticed that when he moved his hand is in a fist form, so he will slide through the picture that he wants. When he slide through the picture that he wants, we will reiterate the chosen picture and ask him whether this is the correct item that he wants to tell us or share with us. So I built his literacy and numeracy skills through apps such as Beatsboard. All these apps it can be downloaded by, I mean, in your iPad. I'm not too sure about the other platforms, but yeah, Beatsboard is amazing. It lets you create worksheets, but it's not the academic kind of worksheets where it's like just black and white. So there are games that the children can play. So they are motivated to learn new words and motivated to share what they are thinking about when I actually make the worksheets for him. Yeah, so these are some of the apps that I use with him, Beatsboard, and then there's also a phonics app. So he's non-verbal, so but you still have to teach them phonics because you want them to separate like words and then yeah, eventually spell them. Yeah, so and they need to know the how the word sounds like by letters. So I teach him phonics through that. And then there's also like side worksheets, free printables from the internet and Pinterest. Yeah, so that's how I built his literacy and numeracy skills. As time goes by, he gets good at it, and then he can independently do his Beatsboard worksheets and games by himself, or with the help of his twin brother. Yeah. Okay. So eventually when he Reese is around 5 years old, we noticed that he is very comfortable. The best fit for him is the POT system, which is the pragmatic organization dynamic display. Yeah. Yeah. So this system is good for him because since young he has been associating words with icons. So and in the pod system, there's like pages where categories which you can go into to tell you like to tell you like exactly what you want to say. So like, once you go to categories and then you want to go to favorite animals. So there's like a page for favorite animals, and you have all the list of animals that you want to choose from. So it fits him best. So that's why the therapist at Tech Able. My family and we don't just collaborate with speech therapists in his early intervention center or in his childcare. He was in kindergarten, and there's a speech therapist there. So we actually collaborate with an external speech therapist as well from Tech Able, and assistive technologies from Tech Able as well. So we decide, all of us decide together with Reese that the pod system fits in best. Presently, if he doesn't have the eye gaze system with him, we use the pod book with him, and then we use it as natural as possible. So there are times when there are words that's not available in his pod book. As natural as possible, I will point to the icons in the pod book to the words that's available in the pod book. So in a way, I talk using his language, which is pod. And then if like there's something wrong, I said something wrong, and I wanted to say sorry or oops, then I would just point to the word oops. Yeah, so he prefers using his eye gaze system nowadays, because it's easier for him to manage it independently. So he doesn't really need a person beside him to flip the pages, and then and he's growing, so he wants to do everything independently. So he prefers the eye gaze on the pod app in his eye gaze system, and then when there are words that's not available, he can spell it using the alphabet alphabet page, and then he can also tell time and learn, and he learn numeracy skills through this pod app. It's called the Grade 3 app, yeah, in his Microsoft tablet. Yeah. Okay. So as all new language, learning the pod system or learning AAC with Reese is like learning a new language. So of course there's up and downs, and I want to share with all of you the ups and downs, because I think this is very natural that there's always the pros and cons of using a system or something new, just as learning is lah. So the ups is we are able to communicate effectively with Reese. We notice that he throw less tantrums, and he's able to tell me not just positive things, but also if he's feeling yucky or if he's feeling bored, all the negative feelings also, he's able to express himself using his AAC. So I don't pressure him. If he wants to use the low tech pod, and then by all means he will. I let him use it. So I will facilitate, because there must always be a person to flip the pages for him. Then if he wants to independently tell us that he wants something, then he can use his IDs app. Usually for at home, we try to use the high tech high tech system more, and then outside we actually have a digitalized version of his pod book that is downloaded in his iPad. Yeah, so he is able to talk to other people, neighbors, and then strangers, or friends that come over, and then he likes to introduce himself first. He will say, my name is Reese, and then he will tell standard. He will tell his favorite thing to do and also his favorite animal, which is a lion. Yeah, so he becomes more independent, and it's very satisfying to see that he's able to do something on his own. Yeah. And then for us, the downs or the cons of having an AAC system, uh, of course, like every language, new language that you study is really time consuming, right? Because you really, for Reese, he really needs to go through the port book, which is around 100 plus pages at first. And then I'm like, oh, how do I study this book? And then how do I teach him? Like, there's 100 of pages in the port book. Like it will take time lah. And then I actually am quite amazed by the resilience and the determination of these children. They know that they can't do everything independently, but they try their best to tell us through gestures, through pictures, icons, that what they want to say, what they're feeling, their train of thoughts, and I'm just amazed lah at their determination. And and then you also need to wait patiently for the other person to respond in order to have a two-way communication. So we are so used to saying things verbally and very fast-paced. We are so used to a fast-paced environment. So when somebody is like using this system and taking their time to choose icons and words, sometimes you like hurry up, please. Yeah. So it's still I guess a learning process for us also to actually be patient with Reese, because he knows what he wants. It's just that it will take a while for him to tell us through the system that he's using. Yeah, and as I mentioned, his port book is very bulky, so it used to be like we used to large this around. It's like 100 plus pages. Yeah, so it's very bulky. But we are very glad that he's moving on to a higher tech. Yay, like finally. Yeah. So and then there's also sometimes the frustrating moments where you have to keep on adapting to system changes as the child grows. So I think has used quite a number of system already. So from the pack book, and then there's the nine, I can't remember what is it called. It's like there are nine icons on the, it's like a low tech tablet. Yeah, so there's nine icons on that. And then he moved on to 24 icons. I can't remember. Then he moved on to the portable, and then now is the high tech tablet ID system. And at every step of the way, we have to learn with him as well. It's a good learning experience, I guess. I'm constantly learning how to keep up with Reese and his technology. Yeah. So these are some of the strategies that I adopted, both me and my husband, because we want to implement AAC in our lives, and we want to make it as natural as possible. We are so used to talking verbally that sometimes we forget that like Reese needs somebody to facilitate. So and now that there's his younger brother in the picture, so it used to be the two of them. So now that there's three of them, I have to like be like an octopus, like do two, three things at once. So Reese also attends, has physiotherapy, occupational therapy, and on top of speech therapy. So and then so all these exercises I have to try and cheat and do all two or three things all at once. So sometimes when he's on his standing frame, I will put his eye gaze system in front of him, and then I will ask him questions, or let him choose his YouTube videos while he's standing. So that's how I try to manage his therapies at home together with using AAC. Yeah. And I also wrote in immediate family members. So my husband, his twin brother is an expert. If you have seen Riz and his brother's video, which I will show you in a while, he is also an expert in using the pod system with Riz. So because from when Riz attended speech therapy and assistive tech therapy in tech able, his twin brother will also be there with him. So he observed how Reese uses the pod system, and then at home he will do it with Reese. Yeah, so I have he's my like right hand man. So whenever sometimes I don't know what Reese wants, I will ask Kois, do you know what Reese wants? And then Kois will like, oh, he wants this lah, Mama, because he showed me this picture. Yeah. So for us, AAC becomes a family bonding time. During we usually like play games or like have dinner together, and then we'll ask Reese whether dinner is delicious or not. And he's very truthful. If my cooking is not nice, he will say it's yucky. If it's nice, he will say it's great. Yeah, so it becomes a bonding time with Reese instead of a stressful time when we use AAC. Okay, for us, how we establish good relationship with family members and beyond. This is actually the essence of my sharing. I want to let people know that uh, using AAC establish a good relationship with the AAC user. So before, when Reese wasn't using any AAC device, or when he has limited icons using the PAC system. We actually he actually was quite he loves to cry whenever he wants something. So that's why
Sorry, Hidayah, you got muted.
oops, okay, where was I? So okay, I lost my
I think
train
we
of
lost.
thought.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Okay, never mind. Let me get to
Okay, sure.
the
Sure.
first point. So for us, learning is collaborative. We like to foster good relationship with our all of Risk's teachers, therapists, especially his speech therapists, because that's when we ourselves establish a good relationship with these communication partners who are also with Risk most of the time in school. We he also gains that trust that he knows that he trusts this adult will know how to communicate with him. And then when he knows that the adult can communicate with him, he is more determined and more confident to communicate at home, in school, and also beyond in other social settings. Yeah, so and we make sure that he communicates positive and negative feelings. We don't like, you don't tell we don't tell him, you don't say negative things I don't like. We don't say like that. We ask him and tell him that he can say whatever he wants to say, and if it's wrong, of course, or rude, then of course we will like tell him that it's rude. But that's the way he learns, by sharing his thoughts, and we sharing our thoughts to him. Yeah, so it's also for us to better understand our children. And then don't get disheartened by the long learning process, because it's lifelong. You learn together as a family, and it won't stop there. You will learn as long as your children are using AAC. And this one I want to emphasize, the AAC device is a voice for your child. For Reese, who is non-verbal, AAC is his voice, his language. And if he doesn't have AAC, there are other AAC modes such as gestures. These other modes of communication you can also use to establish a connection with your child. So if he's making gestures, if he's making sounds, that's also a form of AAC. And you shouldn't be disheartened if he doesn't want to use the AAC device at that point of time. So there can be a time where you use an AAC device, but there's a time in a social setting where you can, if he's comfortable, just use the gestures and sounds, and it's okay. Yeah. So for me, I respect I respect Reese thoughts. I respect his feelings, and I think that also helps Reese to create positive relationship with other communication partners. Like right now, he's not afraid to tell strangers like who he is, how he's feeling, what is his favorite thing to do. These are like very how to say, these things are quite private to you, right? Like your favorite thing to do and your favorite food and all that. So Reese is able to open up with strangers that he just met, and I think it helps. It benefits him socially. He's more able to establish positive connections with people who wants to communicate with him, and is also developing his academic growth as well. He's doing well in school. He's listening to his teachers well, and then when his teachers tell him give him instructions, he's able to follow them as he should. Yeah. So
thank you very much,
yeah.
Hidayah. That sounds fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you.
This is you can actually watch this video in Riz's Instagram page because it's quite long. He says he doesn't want to make a Mother's Day card for me because he's feeling it's very yucky. He's not a sentimental person. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hidayah, would you be okay
Would
to
you be
share that
okay to
in
share that
the
in the
in our message box?
message box?
Link to
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Instagram.
And
Sure.
then we're gonna
We're
just
gonna just
close out in the next couple
in the
of
next
minutes
minutes
for Meilan to
for
start.
Meilan to start.
Okay. Yeah, so and then this is a short video. So let me just sorry. This is how a Riz brother communicates with me.
It's my turn, okay?
Okay, Riches.
After that is your turn.
You show him the picture or not?
After this is your turn, okay?
Can? Okay, good job. No siblings rivalry because of this. Okay, and then this is also in in our Instagram page. So it's our family bonding time. How we connect using the pot book. Yeah, and that's all I want to share. Thank you for listening to my ramblings. Thank you so much. Back to Ro.
I have just learned I have an echo. Thank you very much, Hidayah. That was fabulous. Thank you very much for sharing. And I'm sure that Risk will have a lot more Instagram followers by the end of this evening. So thank you very much. And Meilan, we'd like to hand over to yourself now and take your time. We're very interested to hear about the journey that you've been on with AAC as well.
Thank you. I feel so encouraged after hearing Hidayah's sharing. So much improvement since we were last sharing together, like 2 years ago, and now you have another baby. Okay, sorry, I sidetracked. Yeah. So today, I'd like to share my unexpected gains out of AAC. Okay, maybe I'll start with an introduction of my son. Yeah, so my son is 15 years old. He has high support needs, quite a number of behavioral issues. I'll come back to that to explain why there are certain things we can or cannot do. He loves food, music, and sports. And actually, he's largely non-verbal, but he uses single words to convey what he wants, mainly food and maybe some toys. But because his pronunciation is very unclear, every word sounds the same, which was a struggle for us when he was younger. However, along the way, we discovered that actually he has good receptive language. He can understand what we are saying, even when we speak in other languages somehow. Yeah, and he does have a strong desire to convey his request for food and objects of interest. So when we talk about the intent to communicate, he has that out of what he wants. And also his learning style, he needs a lot of novelty, a lot of variation. The routine helps a lot, and he definitely still need a lot of rewards in order to get him going. So this is roughly an image of him. Next, please. Okay, so actually, we have tried so many things, and on this page, I'm just talking about like communication alone. But when he was younger, I have really tried a lot of different therapies with him. And even before he was diagnosed with autism, actually to me, speech was a very big thing because he was actually delayed, but I didn't notice that. The one big thing I noticed was there was no speech even at 2 years old. So from beginning to when he was even much older, I kept focusing a lot on speech. So the challenge has always been like finding Jake's voice. And as with all the special needs children, we started off with PACS, the Picture Exchange Communication System. And also quite concurrently, we were introduced to the Hannah approach, and we had the regular kind of like speech therapy. And then I moved on to oromotor therapy before we finally reach Protocol to Go, which is like the high-tech app. I'd like to speak a little about why we move around. So from the start, when we were using the picture exchange communication system, it started off very well because Jake was like in his own world when he was diagnosed at 2, and PACS was the one thing that kind of like drew him out to have this desire to communicate, because he has always been a foodie, so food has always been a very big motivation for him. And so PACS, I still remember very distinctly, the food that we used was like seaweed, cookie, that kind of thing. So he moved very fast on that, that intent to communicate. And the PACS, you have like different levels. So he was progressing quite well with that. But one thing I did not like about PACS was it's very limited in the sense that you have to know beforehand what he wants. And then you laminate the cards, and then he can kind of like choose from there. But as he is growing and developing, and we do not always know what's in his mind, so PACS becomes very limited because it may be none of the above. And we don't even know what he's really thinking of. And also it's a lot of work to print and laminate, especially in those days when the handphone did not have camera yet. So it was quite a big deterrent for me, because don't forget, I'm not just doing speech, I was also doing a lot of other therapies. So I was like never really very diligent on this. And then my husband and I took up the Hanan program, and actually that was a significant breakthrough for Jake, in the sense that for pets, the intent to communicate was always about requesting for food and all that. But for Hanan approach, we're looking more at connection with the child, and there was homework and video and all that. And Jake actually was largely non-verbal, but he started making some sounds because of the Hanan program, because of our homework. So I remember I was like trying very hard to engage him in different things, but my husband had the breakthrough when it was his turn to do the homework. So he took out this toy aeroplane, and then he just made a sound for the aeroplane. He says, "Aeroplane goes meow," and then Jake responded and say meow, and not just say meow, but he had that expression, the expressive kind of sound. So that was like wow for us, and that's why we use quite a lot of Hanan. And then, because like what I said, my desire really was for him to develop speech somehow. So along the way, we had the regular speech therapy, which didn't go very far, but then some of the mothers were saying that, you have to go to these particular therapies for the oromotor therapy, and because he probably had weak muscle around his jaw and all that, you need to build that up, and then you need to drill him with sounds, and there were all kinds of success stories. So I finally went for that, and actually it was very, very tedious, because we were like doing those oromotor exercises like 5 times a day or something. So it's like throughout the day, other than the basic taking care, like meal time, shower, the other gaps were all filled up with this oromotor therapy, which is also like quite time consuming. But I was very diligent in that. And Jake somehow was also very cooperative, because of course he had the food reward. But he never, because in order to make the sound and then to string the sound into some word and all that is really a very, very tedious journey. For some kids, they took off after a while when they get the hang of it. But for Jake, his unclear pronunciation somehow remained, even though he now had more sounds because of the oromotor therapy. And after trying so much for a couple of years, I kind of gave up, because it's really like taking up so much time every day. And also at the back of my mind, I also had this feeling that it's a bit, how do I put it? It's a bit not very dignified for him to be made to do this many times a day. And it's also a lot of work for me. And I started to also see things differently as the years go by, which I'll come to in the subsequent slides. So finally, we came to Prologo to go. Actually, we started this on our own without a proper therapist to do this. We just bought the app. Didn't even know there was like significant discounts during the Autism Month and the AAC Month. But we just thought that, okay, we just try, So we also didn't start out the correct way, so to speak, but it was good even from the start. And I think I reached this comms app because I also came to see speech. No, I came to see communication beyond just speech at that point. Yeah. So yeah, and also one thing was, shortly after we started on our own, then I always tell this story. So we watched this video about another special needs kid who had cerebral palsy, and he used Touch Chat, another AAC app, and it was like a breakthrough, and that was like his voice. So it's like he found his voice, and that really kind of like inspired me. And from there, I realized that, oh, he went to SPD for this, and that's how our proper journey started. Yeah. So when I started with Prologo to Go, I actually had a lot of expectations and a lot of hope, and because based on that boy's success. And the title of my sharing is Unexpected Gains, because actually after we started after a while, I realized that it's not going the way I wanted. But instead, despite that, actually we had other gains, and that's what I would like to focus my sharing on today. Okay, next please. Okay, so like I said, from the start, there was this very desperate desire to elicit speech for Jake, because we always see speech as a very big thing, to be able to even say some words, you know. So when he had single words, even though it was unclear, it was a very big deal to us. But it's really through the years, seeing how he struggled, how we struggled, how we've all done our best, and also learning more about special needs, autism, and all that. Then I came to the gradual acceptance and realization that really communication is more than just speech. And I actually now focus more on connection than even just communication. Yeah. Okay, next please. So like I said just now, the video that I watched where the boy found his voice was like such a big thing for me, that I started bearing hopes that, okay, this Prologo to Go will become Jake's voice for us to know the, you know, really about his inner world, for us to know how he feels, what he thinks, and all the whys behind his behavior, because he has so many challenging behaviors, and we are like always trying to stop him or prevent, or it actually has been very stressful for us because of some of this behavior. And I always thought that if we know the why, then we will have some grounds to meet in the middle. But not knowing the why has always made dealing with this behavior very difficult. But I also realized that actually Jay has different goals. Jay is just happy to convey what he wants, and that's enough for him. But for us, especially for me as the mother, I really hope that he will one day find his voice and be able to tell us things and all that. So whenever I see different users of AAC, I mean, we have heard so many success stories, and even the AAC users coming out themselves to share about, you know, how this is their voice and things like that. I also realized that autistic kids are very different from, let's say, cerebral palsy kids. Even though they have the intent to communicate, they seem to, I'm not talking about all, but some, they seem to just want to say what they want to say, but they're not very forthcoming in sharing what they think or how they feel, even for the verbal kids that I know of, some of the autistic kids. So I think for my son, he is really just glad to be able to convey what he wants more clearly than using his speech. And I don't know which day we can reach my hope that he will be able to share his feelings and thoughts with us. But yeah, this is the current status. And I think I have to respect that and accept that for now, even as I continue to work towards what I hope he can achieve further. Okay, next. Okay, so like I said, it did not perform the miracle that I was expecting, but I have also by then tried many different things. So I kind of also readjusted myself, and it's easy to like try different therapies for a period of time and then give up and then move on to the next thing. But over the years, I think we also get into some sort of fatigue, for me at least, after trying very hard for many years. So instead of like trying to look for the next thing, I kind of like continue with this and try different things with it, to kind of like see what else I can get out of it. So, sorry. Yeah. Okay, next please. Okay, well, talk about the unexpected gains later on, but how Product to Go has helped us. This kind of like was within expectation and was achieved in a way, because we know that the goal was to make his speech clearer. So when when we first tried the app with him, he was fascinated from day one, because we pressed something and there was a voice feedback. He was like, what's this? He was like intrigued, and then he was like interested to continue with it. And I think because when he tried to say something, actually he tried to say a lot of things. He's very noisy all day long. He has very limited speech, but he is quite talkative in that sense. Yeah. So whenever he tries to say something and it's not clear, it can be very frustrating. And he's very particular about what he wants, so he'll try and try. With this app, as long as he learns fast the words that he needs, he can get to us very fast, so that the intent to communicate actually increases, and then the chances of him being misunderstood decreases. And okay, I have a spelling error there. The frustration and the meltdown decrease a lot, really, because I think he is like so much able to convey what he really wants so much clearer, that he really, the difficult behavior just reduced so much. And I think largely it's because he feels heard and he's reassured. And I think this feeling heard is very important, because of course the challenge now is that, let's say he wants something, and then in the past we couldn't quite get it, and he will be trying, and then we'll also be trying to understand, and it's easy to get frustrated and even escalate into a meltdown, or it's also very easy for him to feel very down because he has already tried to say. And now you can't pretend not to understand, because the app says it very clearly. The challenge becomes, he says something he wants, and then you have already given it to him, and he wants more, and he wants all. So that is, the challenge becomes having to always give him what he wants, which is also a problem in itself. It is no longer like a communication problem. It's a managing the expectation and behavior kind of issue. So, but along the way, I thought that I felt that as long as he feels heard, he's actually more ready to negotiate, even if you know what he wants, you have heard him, but it's still a no. The part about feeling understood actually sometimes is more important than getting the thing that he wants. That's something that I kind of like discovered and learned along the way. Okay, next please. And now the unexpected gains. So using this Product to Go really trains patients on both sides, like what Hidayah shared earlier as well. So for him, for both of us, actually, it's a very steep learning curve, because Jay is not just non-verbal. He is also he's quite illiterate. He's still learning to read and to spell. So there's quite a lot of limitations on what he can do. And even though with this app we can use symbols and words, right? The system is full of vocabulary, and he has to find certain things under different folders. So that actually takes time, which is good because when he wants something and he has to take time to find it, he's kind of like distracted from escalating. And for me, I gain time to strategize on like how to handle. Yeah. And also, I think the to and fro, like we try to use the system, kind of like allows us to clarify and also to negotiate more clearly. Because like I said, although he has receptive language, and I just feel that sometimes when you keep saying something, it becomes too much. But when you use the system to say the same thing, he maybe also can see it and hear it at the same time. So that helps. Okay, the next page. Okay, so this system is cool, right? It's high tech, and it has a voice feedback. So when we go outside, actually it's not very easy to use this outside because first of all, like I mentioned, he has some behavior which is very challenging for me to manage him and also to hold on to like his iPhone or his mini iPad for this. So actually we use this mostly at home or in safe settings. Let's say we attend an event with volunteers. Then in the past, the volunteer would always talk to me rather than to him when I say he's nonverbal. But now with For Local to Go, I can kind of like tell the volunteer that, oh, wait, you give me some time, and then I can let Jade use the app to like introduce himself. So this picture, you can see that, oh, okay, I have like, he can, actually it's kind of like scripted because we practice, like if someone asks, how are you, what's your name, then you press this kind of thing. So it's not like he has to press the word for word, it's already formed, the sentences are already formed in the different texts. So if you ask what's his name, then he will just press my name is Jake or something like that. So there are few fixed questions and answers, which still helps because then I can tell the volunteer, you can ask him this, and then Jake will get to practice with a willing communication partner. So it's still not very easy for us to like approach anybody and use this, but at least he now has a tool to use to communicate with willing partners. And the willing partners are volunteers usually, or friends. I mean, my friends, not his friends. They are kind of like curious and interested to see what this thing can do as well. So that helps in creating opportunities to communicate with others. And even though the conversation is very basic because it's kind of like scripted, but we have to start somewhere, and I'm quite happy with this now. And actually I'm also quite lazy to expand it, but I know that the tool has the potential for me to do more. Okay. Okay, next page. Yeah. For me, the biggest unexpected gains out of Progo to Go would be seeing the interesting sides of Jade through how he uses the system. So for example, he uses it mostly for food. Okay, so most of the things are, food folder is like a lot of new entries as well, because the system itself is like based on what the kind of food that the Western people eats. But here, all the local food, he's quite a local boy, so I have to kind of like customize a lot of this local food and use my own voice to pronounce some of the names of the food. Yeah. So I realized that Jay really is very good in pestering. He will press candy cookies. Or I remember there was once he was sick and he vomited and he's really unwell. And he was pressing Coke so many times. And I was thinking, no, you're not well to have Coke. But thinking back, actually Coke could be a remedy, not remedy, but it's like after you vomited and all that, actually you need some salt and all that, you know, you need some sugar or what. So maybe that's why he knew better. Well, but he pesters a lot through the app by pressing it for many times, and it gets quite annoying sometimes when, you know, he press many times. I even have to learn how to prevent him from repeating. sometimes. Yeah. Okay, the next one. The next one is I discovered how creative and resourceful he can be. For example, this picture, right? He is always pressing hot cross bun, and I was wondering, why is he pressing hot cross bun? Because I never introduced this food to him, and it's also not a very common food in our culture. And even if it's available, it's only available around Easter. But he likes to press hot cross bun. So I thought maybe it's because he knew the song, hot cross bun. But later on, I realized that it's because he likes this hyongbaeng, a local Chinese kind of biscuit, and it's not in the system. And he cannot pronounce hyongbaeng, or rather, he didn't know it's called hyongbaeng. So he kind of like tried his luck by pressing something that looks similar to the biscuit he wanted. So it took us quite a while to realize, oh, you like this so much. And then I told him, oh, this is called hyongbaeng. And he kind of picked up that pronunciation, at least the intonation. Yeah, and then now when he pressed hot cross bun, I know that it's hyongbaeng, but actually I can then already input this hyongbaeng into the system so that there's no confusion. And he has also used party to try to convey something. And I thought, no, I don't think he likes parties, because he doesn't really have the kind of friends to have a party with. So I was wondering what he wanted, and I realized, oh, he actually wanted something is terror party. And because terror party is in a folder that he has not been introduced to, so when in his free time, sometimes he will press different buttons to listen to the sound, and because he can associate the sound with the picture, so he picks up some of this. So at that point, when he actually was thinking of having terror party, he didn't know where to find terror party, so he tried party. Then I realized, oh, do you mean terror party? And then his eyes light up, so you know that, okay, you got it. And that's how I discovered that even though he's very limited in his vocabulary, he has quite creative and resourceful way to try to convey what he wants. Of course, this then also depends on how much the caregiver knows. Like for me, how much I know about him. If he tries this with like a third party who is unfamiliar with him, probably he will have no luck, because people will totally be unable to understand what he's trying to say. But for me, because I know him very well, and because I also observe some of these surprises, so when he tries to say something, I think it's not really what he's trying to say, I can kind of like associate and think back on what other possibilities that could be. So in other words, it actually helps me to get closer to the right answer. In that sense, yeah, help me to guess better as to what he's really trying to say. And after that, then I will have the opportunity to put this thing into the app so that he can really say what he means. It's like an in-between step, but it's still better than nothing. Okay, next page, please. Yeah, so I find this very interesting and also very difficult sometimes, because I realized that he likes to describe things by colors. And if you describe things by color, it's very difficult sometimes, because you need to give more clues. If you just use one word, he's a single word user. So if you just give the color and he expects you to know the context of what he's saying, it's actually very difficult. But along the way, I find a lot of these examples. So for example, the other time he wanted chocolate, so he pressed chocolate, and then I gave him some chocolate in the fridge, and he accepted it, but he was not very happy with it. And then he pressed green. Then I was like, green what? Green can be so many things, right? Can be a thing, can be a food. Even within the food, there are like so many types of food. And then somehow we reached the point where I realized that, oh, okay, before we reach home, somebody gave him this thing, and to him, this is a green chocolate. And it's like, if you tell any other person green chocolate, nobody will know what you're talking about. So there has to be a context to it. But because I'm always with him, so I can kind of like relate it to I can guess the context for it, and then I'll try to ask it whether this is the one. And then he's like, yes. So I'm trying to move him beyond just using the color and using the now. He has to like give more clues. And this is something that we are trying to work on. It's a work in progress. And the next one was like, sorry, I need the next slide. The next one is this super ring cracker, which he says blue-orange. Actually, it's not even blue, it should be purple, but maybe in his quick mind, he thinks it's blue. So it's like, blue-orange, what is blue-orange? So it took a while for me to realize that, oh, you mean super ring, okay? And actually, then you look back and, okay, if you think it's blue-orange, in a way, you can say that it's blue-orange. But that's the part about Jake, which really amuses us sometimes, and which also shows that we still have a lot of work to do with him. But it also reveals the side of how he really maximizes whatever he has at his disposal to help him convey to us what he's thinking of or what he wants when he doesn't have the right word for it. Okay, and next one. Okay, so like I said, protocol to go, to me, it didn't materialize in the sense that, okay, Jake finds his voice, he will tell us what he thinks, what he feels, or if I ask him, how's your day, he can talk about it, because I think he's not very interested in talking about things. All these things are like work to him. Like, for example, we will practice the calendar and the weather, and it becomes a kind of routine. But I'm using this to teach him new things. And like I mentioned earlier, he's a person who requires a lot of novelty, variation, and routine, and of course the reward. So then I incorporate all of these things, and I use Pro to go in different ways, actually my own ways, to introduce new things to him. Initially, when we started with his therapies, we were talking about, okay, he should move on from single words to forming a sentence. Like, he cannot just say biscuit, he must say, I want biscuit, or I want which kind of biscuit, or how many biscuit. We have to like expand the sentence. You have to incorporate verbs. There's some kind of like steps to expanding his language. But I find it so hard, because actually he's someone who values efficiency a lot. He's very efficient in the sense that he wants to convey what he wants in the easiest way, like single words. And he knows I know, so that's the part about it. So a lot of these things that I try to do with him, actually to him is work. And then we also come to this part where initially the therapist was saying that, okay, this is like his voice, so it must not be work. It must be, we must make him motivated to do rather than make it like work. But I think through the years, we also recognize that we have tried and he has tried. So if he cannot move like other children, to recognize this as a tool, as his voice, and therefore be intrinsically motivated in using it without making it into work, then we have two choices. It's either we give up or we make him. So I decided then to continue introducing some things with him, even though it's like work to him, but because he gets his reward, and because I sometimes make it into a routine, so he is a bit neutral about it. He will not throw a tantrum over it, and that is good enough for me for now. So what have we done other than trying to introduce new words and trying to let him practice sentence formation? one interesting thing is using this to WhatsApp family members or his teachers. I have a picture for it in the next slide. Yeah. So yeah. So this one is he's trying to WhatsApp his dad. I get him to use the protocol to type, not to type, to use the symbols. So you press hello papa, and then because before that, of course, I already tried to establish where my husband is and whether this is possible. I WhatsApp him on my phone to check whether he could fulfill this request. Then he said okay. Then I said, hey Jake, because Jake was pestering that time, he was pestering for a drink, and I can't go out and get the drink, but I checked with my husband where he was, and he said, yeah, he could go and get this, and he will take a long time. Okay, so this is the part about buying time, right? And strategizing. So I told Jake, let's ask Papa to buy this. So he was like, there's hope. So he's willing to slowly find the word and form the sentence and WhatsApp to him. And because this is his father, of course, it's a very willing communication partner. So there's a to and fro conversation. So I know that Jake cannot wait very long for the drink. If it's like 3 hours away, probably this won't work. But because I know that he's not very near, but it's near enough. So I asked Jake to ask, can I see please? And okay, he bought the drink, and then we can finish this conversation with a thank you. And then I can remind Jake, see, Papa is on his way. And that's how we manage his impatience and his demands sometimes, by ensuring him that he has asked, he's been heard, and the action is in process, and now he has to wait. And if he passes again, then I come back to this WhatsApp and say, see, on the way or something, or you can text, you can WhatsApp Papa again. So that's how we manage. And also these 2 years I also started, because Jake likes to look at my picture album of himself, his pictures and his videos. So I started to do journaling with him. And I do journaling with him using the Comms app. So I think the therapist taught me how to do this. Like I can have the picture on in one window, and then I can have the Comms app in the other window, and then we type, and then after that it's like copy and paste. It's a bit tedious, but it can be done. So that's how we input this actually into his class dojo, a communication system with his school teachers, so that they are aware of what we are doing at home. We kind of update them about what he's doing with the picture, and Jake will form very simple sentences on what the picture is about. So that's the journaling part. Okay, next. So what I really want to say is, like, even though I started Protocol to Go with certain expectations, it didn't go that way. But over the years, I think I kind of like changed my mindset as well. And we have then had other gains out of it. So I really like to leave with this quote, like, when you least expect it, something great will come along. Something better than you ever planned for. Be patient, be smart, and stay focused. So that's my message to all of you. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. That was very interesting. And it's so fantastic to see. I would also like a jelly drink. Yes. So I